Good evening, everyone. This is the Tuesday, January 16th, 2024 Town of Monroe Planning Board regular meeting. Noreen, would you please do a roll call?
Bonnie Franson,
Here.
Jeff Manson,
Here.
Pat Shea,
Here.
Nick Napoli is out, Dylan Penn,
Here.
Robert Garstack.
Here.
He will be filling in for Nick Napoli this evening.
Thank you, and Happy New Year to everyone. I think it's the first time we're all together. I'd like to point out the fire exits. There are two in front of me, one which is the main entrance into the building, and then another out to the patio area. With that, let's all stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, with that, first item on the agenda are appointments, and acting chair Jeff Manson has acted capably in that position, and I would propose that we nominate him again for acting chair. Any comments or thoughts on that? And would you like to accept it?
Yes.
Okay.
Second.
All right. Would you make a roll call, Noreen?
Franson,
Aye.
Pat Shea,
Aye.
Nick Napoli Dylan Penn,
Aye.
Jeff Manson,
Aye.
Bob Garstack.
Aye.
I'm having a problem.
We're in different seats tonight, so I'm probably throwing you. All right, and with that, the next item on the agenda is to appoint a planning board attorney, and I would make a motion that we appoint Ashley Torrey of Torrey and Naughton and Torrey. Well, I just put Torrey first.
I know, but I don't know whether that makes a difference.
For 2024.
Sounds good either way.
I know. I was going to say, Ashley, I'm sure you appreciate it. So may I have a second?
Second.
Noreen?
Bonnie Franson,
Aye.
Jeff Manson,
Aye.
Bob Garstack,
Aye.
Pat Shea,
Aye.
Dylan Penn.
Aye.
Okay, and then the last appointment is to reappoint our planning board engineer, Sean Arnott of McGoey, Hauser, and Edsel, for 2024. I will make that motion. May I have a second?
Second.
Noreen?
Bonnie Franson,
Aye.
Jeff Manson,
Aye.
Robert Garstack,
Aye.
Pat Shea,
Aye.
Dylan Penn.
Aye.
All right, all those motions carry, and we are set to conduct business for 2024. First regular item on the agenda is a new public hearing for Pilati Village at 98 Harriman Heights Road, Monroe, New York. Mike Morgante is here to represent the applicant, and if you would like to first explain what you're here for. Ashley, should I open the public hearing first and then have Mike explain, or do that after?
This is actually a continuation of the public hearing. It was opened at your December 19th meeting.
Okay, thought so. All right. We don't need to open it then?
No, you don't need a motion to open.
All right, thank you. So why don't we start?
Yeah, sure. So we, at the last meeting, had gone through, I think, an extensive presentation on the town wetland buffer that was going to be disturbed on the southern side and northern side of the property. We outlined it on the map that was placed on the TV projector screens. I think there was a few questions from one or two members of the public, which I believe we addressed that night. I believe the continuation was only held open simply because of, I think, something to do with publication of the notice in the newspaper, which is why we're here tonight. So, I mean, I'm glad to go over a quick overview with the board again if you feel it's necessary. Otherwise, I think the board may be in a position tonight to potentially think about taking some action on that wetland permit.
So I don't know that we need to, again, unless you feel, do you need that? No, I'm getting no's. I do want to ask you, and I've seen some public comment on this, is in terms of the wetlands themselves, so we've been talking about disturbances to the wetland buffer, but we've never really spoke about use of the lake or the water, especially Blythea. So my question is, and I'm trying to recall from the deeds, what rights do the parcels have with regard to the lake itself? Do you recall?
I would have to look at that myself, quite frankly. I don't remember discussing that in great detail at the last meeting. But I would have to look at the deeds myself and see what rights the neighbors have to accessing it as it stands right now.
So I think right now, and I've asked Ashley to consider this as part of the resolution, is we've never really discussed any kind of, and not so much concerned about the residents, which are a few handful of homeowners, but the fact that we're now attaching an apartment building to the lake. And we've never talked about public docks or anything encroaching into the wetland or use of the wetlands. So for now, in terms of the permit, we're going to limit it, and we may take that up again as part of subdivision if we need to revisit that.
Okay,
Okay,
we can do that. That sounds a fair approach.
thank you. Any questions or comments, planning board members? No? Okay. Sean, do you have any comments that you want to raise?
I don't. I did coordinate. There is a standard memo procedure for delineating the wetlands. Incorporated it.
Okay.
I with those. Excuse me. Those requirements.
Okay, for the markers? Okay. Ashley, is there anything that you want to raise?
Nothing at this time. If there's no one from the public to comment, then you would be able to go ahead and close the public hearing and review the resolution, and then I could point out those changes that I made in response to Sean's comment, and then an incorporation about the limiting the permit to just the disturbance of the buffer areas.
Okay. Just to make sure, anyone here in the public that's here for the Pilati Village permit application, there being none, I will make a motion that we close this public hearing. May I have a second?
Second.
Maureen?
Franson,
Aye.
Aye.
Bob Garstack,
Aye.
Pat Shea,
Aye.
Dylan Penn.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. So with that, I will bring up a resolution of conditional approval for a local wetland disturbance permit. And I'll just scroll through it if anyone hasn't had an opportunity to take a look at it. In summary, disturbance to approximately 102,165 square feet of the wetland buffer to construct the Pilati Village project. 40,391 square feet would be part of Phase 1, and that's on the southern side of Harriman Heights Road, which has a senior housing building, and then 61,774, which is to wetland buffer in Phase 2, which is the north side of Harriman Heights Road, and that's associated with the multifamily and townhouse development. Property involved, so the tax map ID parcel numbers are identified. The property was rezoned to conservation cluster residential. And there's a recitation of the various studies that had been submitted in support of the application, which either make reference to or just part of the submission, but include reference to the wetlands, negative declaration, and then a SWIP, and various other.
And just to comment on that, under the oh, actually, I might be getting ahead of you. You're still on the,
Yeah, I'm just scrolling down.
sorry.
That's okay. I'm at the history, so the application was submitted July 12th, 2021, and then the project opening form for the wetlands disturbance permit was November 28th, 2023. We held our public hearing, was closed this evening. The project itself constitutes type 1 action. And we did issue a negative declaration. So do you want me to stop here, Ashley? There's some yellow.
Sure. I had highlighted this part in yellow just because there was more disturbance proposed than at the time you did your neg deck. So I did include here that you were reaffirming that negative declaration with regards to the wetlands disturbance permit.
Okay. Then conditional site plan approval was issued, and then we get to our findings. So planning board further determines that issuance of a local wetland buffer disturbance permit for this application will not impair the functions of the wetlands located on this project site, and will not result in any direct or indirect environmental impacts on wetlands and or wetland buffers. Will not impact wetland functions. I don't know that we can say there isn't an impact on the wetland buffer. There may not be a significant adverse one, but we are going into the buffer, right? So should we just environmental impact on the wetlands or the wetland functions? And take out wetland buffers? Or say something to the extent as otherwise proposed? So it's not all the buffer area, but it's part of the buffer area. Are you following me, Ashley?
Yes, so maybe it will not result in any direct or indirect environmental impact on wetlands or any significant adverse environmental impact on wetland buffers, will not impact wetland functions, and et cetera.
Okay, that's better. And then we have stormwater quality controls. And preservation of permanent open space, and that's part of the overall conservation easement that will be filed. So specific conditions, all conditions attached to conditional site plan approval are incorporated herein. No disturbance to the wetland buffer shall be permitted unless and until all conditions of the site plan approval are obtained. Prior to signing of the resolution, applicant shall furnish a performance restoration security, which has to be determined in consultation with the town board, town engineer, and town attorney. Prior to signing the resolution, we'll get a certificate of liability insurance to cover damages which may occur to the wetland or wetland buffer. Permit is valid for a period of, authorize PB to set a reasonable time for completion, otherwise it's 1 year. So it's not a maximum of 1 year, it's 1 year or whatever reasonable time period we determine, Ashley?
That's correct.
So in terms of, so you've got 2 phases, and
probably just based on the applications to the state for funding, we may be like a year before that funding actually comes through to us. You're probably looking at close to 2 years for construction on the south side and at least another 2 years for the north side. So,
you know, I would set it at 2 years.
Okay.
And then if they have to come in again for the north side.
we can come in for an extension at that
Yes.
point. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So that would be my suggestion. Any thoughts about that?
Is there a limit on the extension?
Are there any limits on the extension, Ashley?
It's one, you could grant an extension for 1 additional year.
Yeah.
But I think, so it's only 1 additional, and then they'd have to submit a new application. So why don't we do 3 in 1? Because that would be a total of 4, and I think beyond that, probably should be reviewed. That would be my suggestion.
And construction of buffer on the north side should be.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, Sean. You're
Yeah, I think it has to get, it's like, yeah, it keeps turning on and off.
I'm thinking that the construction of the portion within the wetland buffer on the north side should be early in that process because it's part of the rough grading.
I think the only problem, well, when we start construction on the north side, I would agree with that. But I don't know that we're going to do construction on the south side first, is my understanding. So.
Right, but I'm saying I think that fits in the 4 years fits in your timeline.
Correct.
I'm
yes.
guessing.
Well,
Yeah, it could, yes.
Actually, let's talk about this from the perspective of how long is our site plan approval? Because I don't know that we want to go out longer on a wetland permit than what's allowed for a site plan. Do we have anything, Ashley, or could you take a look at what site
Yeah,
plan
I'm
is?
pulling that up right now.
Great. Someone else wants to. I know but it may have been a change in the law. It used to be that all these old subdivisions that got approved like over and over and over again, extended since 2009, whenever, they always extended the permit too. But it may have been that we changed that. No, we didn't change the wetlands permitting. It was only the zoning. The wetlands permit is in a separate section. Yeah. So I don't know how they extended it in the past, but they certainly did. Maybe it wasn't really copacetic, but.
So site plan requires construction to be started within 2 years and completed within 3 years.
So I would then say go to 3 years.
They can go to 3 years and they can extend
1
it for
year.
1 more year, which is
Exactly.
the 4 year. Yeah.
That's the 4.
Mhm.
Yep, nope. Okay. So, Ashley, for a period of, it'll be 3 years. And then you have the 1 year. And that's 3 years
Is it
from the date.
2 years and then the 1 year if needed, or is it a period of 3 years and then one additional extension?
3 years and 1 additional. And does that happen as of the date of this resolution or the filing of the resolution? I don't know technically.
Can we make it effective the date of the signing of the site plan? Because,
That's what it typically.
yeah,
I'm not sure.
You can make it, you can specify, since it allows you to set a reasonable time frame. So if you wanted to be 3 years from the date of signing the site plan,
That makes sense.
that way it coincides.
Yeah. So it'll be signed at the same time.
that makes sense.
Okay. All right. So that takes care of 5. This permit may be transferred to new owners, et cetera. Okay, so these were the additional conditions that were added since the version that was sent to the planning board. Permit is conditioned on the applicant's compliance with the planning board standard requirements for delineation of wetland boundaries for planning board applications. And then permit allows only the disturbances to the local 100-foot wetland buffers as shown on the plans. No disturbance or use of the on-site wetlands or Blythea Lake is authorized by this approval. So that takes care of some public concerns that have been expressed, because I don't believe at any time we we're going through the site plan or seeker that we really focus at all on using the wetlands themselves. So it's not really covered. And so I'd like to do this, and then if it turns out there is a desire to use it in some matter, then it should be part of a discussion. And then we have a whole set of general conditions. So I would only add that New York State DEC's regulations are changing effective 2024. And so some wetlands, the ones of unusual, 2025. So 2025, it's the wetlands of unusual importance. And then 2026, it's the 7.5 acres. So if some of this work doesn't happen, you may end up being subject to additional regulations at the state level with adjacent areas being regulated. So full entity disclosure statement, local wetlands disturbance permit, any changes from the approved plan, et cetera. Any other changes? Anything else you want to consider, board? Nope. All right. I make a motion that we approve the resolution of conditional approval, local wetlands disturbance permit for Parish Property Managed, Inc., Pilati Village, Project 0196-2021, subject to the revisions we discussed this evening. May I have a second?
Second.
Noreen?
Bonnie France,
Aye.
Aye.
Bob Garstack,
Aye.
Pat Shea,
Aye. Aye.
All right, with that,
Was that Jeff who seconded?
Yes.
Thank you.
you're welcome. The permit's approved, and then I guess you have all the conditions you have to satisfy for the site plan.
Correct.
And then you'll be back to us for subdivision.
Yep.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Have a good night, everybody.
You too.
And Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year. All right, returning projects, 127 Seven Springs Road. Good evening.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening. If you just state your name for the record and then give us an update on where you are in the process for this application.
Sure, my name's Chris Fritzel. I'm an engineer with Lankin Tully. Yeah, so the project was last in front of the board last month. At that time, we had discussed the layout. Bonnie had specifically requested that we explored a layout with a single curb cut. So since then, our office coordinated with Sean's office. We did provide that layout with a single curb cut. In addition, we did complete some soil testing for the septic layouts, which proved adequate results. So we're going to add that to our next submission, the soil results. And yeah, that's pretty much where we're at with the plans. We just wanted to bring that back in front of you to have you review the layout and make sure you're okay with it as we continue with our plans. We did receive Sean's comments, pretty standard stuff. We need to develop a SWIP, septic design, move forward with the grading. So we're looking forward to getting all that done for the next submission.
Great. So I'm just going to blow up here, just this little area. So if you want to talk about the number of lots, is it the same, and how you changed it to create the one?
Sure. So the previous layout had the 3 separate curb cuts, and now it used to be the 2 lots were kind of on the bottom, with the rear lot was what is that now, on the northern property line, and we moved it to the center. It kind of worked better with the setbacks and the layout, and it also avoided having like a flag lot situation of a house behind another house. And in addition, we combined the 3 access drives to meet at a shared entrance, which we believe is code compliant based on our conversations.
It's a little off. Do you want to get in?
So is that it in terms of layout changes?
Generally, yeah. I mean, the lots really didn't change in terms of house location or septic location too much, besides, like I said, that one lot got pushed to the north, and the driveway goes down the middle of the 2 lots now.
Okay. So I think then with that, I will go back to, these are, okay. I was going to bring up your comments, but I'll go back to plan.
I think the main discussion should just be on the shared curb cut. In my opinion, that length into the property is creating a private road, which will have to meet private road specifications in the subdivision section, turnarounds for fire, and et cetera. I think my suggestion was to pull those where the driveways split further towards the right-of-way line, the proposed
Okay.
right-of-way line, so that they more or less split at the right-of-way line, not so far into Lot 2 or 3, I forget which one that is.
Understood. Yeah, I get what you're saying, Sean.
So the piece that would be considered the road is up to where the 3 are sharing it, right?
In the right-of-way, well, between the curb cut and the,
Here and up to here?
where they split, correct, yeah,
So this is like a little stub in here?
right.
Would that have, well, if it's private,
It would have to meet the private road specifications,
and don't we have a limit on the number of,
right? Which is 4 unless they front on a public street, then you can get 6 for the, you get the benefit of the 2 that meet the frontage on the public street.
okay. So is that the issue?
Well, the issue is that it has to meet the private road spec, the portion beyond the right-of-way line.
Okay.
So if they just pull the driveways,
They probably think that court's on. Okay. Okay, thank you. They were here for court, I can hear them. Let's just wait till Bob comes back. We're just waiting, George, for Bob to return because he's speaking to the gentleman. George, is that door opened? Is there a way to lock it? The wooden block? Okay, we're gonna take care of that. They can get out that way. They can knock. If they come the back, we'll see them first before they come in, if they go that way. I mean, in a way, anybody can come in during meeting. It's not like we normally have security here, so. So I don't know that it matters that it's left open. Now we need Noreen. I wonder if the magnometer is on. Magnometer? Only during court.
Yeah, no worries.
Actually, let's just, while we're waiting for Noreen, talk a little about the private road. So if this is entering the road, does that suddenly make it private?
so I think all they have to do is pull that where the driveway split back, what is that, maybe 30 feet, 40 feet?
Yeah,
So
that-
it's they split at the right-of-way line. So then it's a shared curb cut.
The other thing is that normally we would show 25 feet back from the center line of a road so that that area is dedicated for use
Which
of
is
the
what they're
public.
proposing.
Is that what that is then?
Yep,
Okay.
the little odd-shaped
Right in here.
parcel, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
They're proposing that portion of the right-of-way to be dedicated.
I mean, technically, they could go a little farther back and then keep those driveways closer to the public right-of-way, too. Like, if you brought this back another 10 feet, even though I know it's more than 25, would that help in terms of getting it within the public right-of-way?
It would if the town wanted more than 50 feet, and the applicant was willing to,
Oh, but then that creates a
Donate.
problem that the town has to maintain it then.
the town owns the property then.
Yeah. I think it's just more
Part
about,
of the width also of that, the special use permit for two families says you can't have a driveway that's over 24 feet wide at any point within the front yard.
Private road spec, I believe, requires 26 feet wide.
what's 20, the private road?
The private road,
Requires 26?
right.
But then you said, what can't be 24 feet, Ashley?
So under the special use permit criteria, 5713U for the two families, there's only allowed to be one driveway for both dwelling units, and the driveway can't be more than 24 feet at any point within the front yard. So depending on the width for lot 3, that might be, and
So,
that's part of the driveway if it exceeds the 24 feet.
so it sounds like the 24 feet, though, applies specifically to the driveway. Sorry, I'm just trying to find out what the scale is. To the driveway,
Yes, it would be a driveway. So if that portion's a private road, then
that's not the driveway.
that wouldn't be applicable. But if it was going to be instead of,
So I was just going to scale this off. Tools.
Sean, is there a specific length from the entrance that you want the driveways to all meet, or is it kind of just at the right-of-way line,
the
I guess,
right-of-way.
give or take? Okay, all right, thank you.
So this here is about like 25 or so. I mean, this isn't precise, and this is 100 scale.
Chris, was there a reason why that width was shown at that? Like, can you reduce that to 24 feet?
Yeah, I think we pretty much just did that because it's, it's where it would see the most usage. But yeah, that could certainly be reduced. But if I understood Ashley correctly, I think she said within the front yard, the driveway couldn't be 24 feet. So
So anything in front of the building is
Oh,
the front yard.
correct, sorry.
But
if it's in the right-of-way.
The pieces that are coming off from that public are 12. It's just the piece.
But the
What's making
taper
it-
is in the right-of-way, so it's not in the front yard. Right, like, where,
If we were
the
to
taper
revise the
should not
layout,
be
right.
of concern, right?
When you say the taper,
The connection to the town road?
that would be the private road part, wouldn't it? Are we talking about here? Or in
In the
here?
right-of-way where it connects
Oh, right
to.
in here?
Yeah, where the driveway widens to connect.
In here? This taper?
Correct, that taper, yep.
That's in the right of way, so I
So
don't know
it
that
shouldn't,
matters.
right, yep.
So yeah, if we scooted the other two driveways to the right-of-way line.
To the right-of-way
then
line.
the entirety of the width that exceeds it would be within the right-of-way, I guess.
Right.
I mean, I think regardless, we can work out the layout and avoid that 24 feet.
Yeah. Ashley, do you agree?
I'm not sure I heard that last piece, but it sounded like they said they'd be able to
Yeah, I
work
think,
it out within the 24 feet. I guess the question then becomes whether it's going to be, though, considered a driveway, this portion, or if this initial portion is considered a private road. In that case, then it would have to meet the road specs, as Sean had noted, which
So
I think
as,
would be 26 feet.
so Ashley, as shown, it would have to meet the private road spec, as you just said, but I think the intent is they're gonna pull that back so it's to the right-of-way line. So they
Okay, so if
would
they
not,
change it to just be then a driveway, then it'll have to just meet that 24-foot maximum in the front yard.
right,
Correct.
are you talking about reorienting it a bit?
Yes, we're gonna push the other two driveways connection points up to the right-of-way line.
So in other words, this is gonna come more at this kind of an angle? And this come at more at this kind of an angle? You
I'll
could
have to
do
look at
that.
the grading. It may still come in perpendicular-ish, but at the right-of-way rather than set back the way it's shown now.
Okay. All right, so that has to be resolved.
and just for clarity, if the applicant wishes to proceed with the private road, I believe, we mentioned the lot count. I believe that's not just lots, it's also dwelling units, but because this is two-family, they would be right at the max of 6.
Okay. All right, we'll have to look at that, make sure everything's aligned with the code.
Obviously, that goes away if private road.
Okay. Do we want to go back to your comments?
So there is an existing single-family house on this lot. We should note, or the plan should clearly note that that'll be demolished, and any other components such as the well and septic, those portions of the existing improvement should be noted to be demolished. As Chris had mentioned earlier, the disturbances noted in some places as 5 acres, in other places it's noted as less. Those, discrepancies should be clarified, but regardless, it appears that over 1 acre is going to be disturbed, so a SWIP will have to be prepared. Hasn't been any grading proposed yet, so that'll have to be incorporated into the plans as well as a SWIP. As Chris noted, we did witness the percolation testing for the septic systems. Those designs should be included on the plans as well as any wells and 100 feet of the property line. We should get the highway superintendent's input on the shared curb cut and any issues he may have with drainage or any other, things that he might have issues up there.
And do you want me to forward the application to the highway superintendent?
I can forward
Okay, sure.
the plans to him. Do you want me to wait until you submit the newest one so he has the most
Yeah.
current?
Yeah, given the layout changing,
Right.
I think that's probably the best bet.
Yep. Okay, so I'll wait for you to send those and then I'll send the update.
Sounds good.
Obviously, meets and bounds descriptions will have to be added to all the property lines, existing and proposed. The dedication portion of the project that we'll have to work out with Ashley. And we talked about the tree plan previously, that'll have to be prepared. 12, I had some additional comments on the EAF that was provided. I think the big thing is, and this goes hand in hand with the application, the newest application that was submitted, the site plan and special use permit weren't noted in the EAF and weren't checked off on the application, the revised application.
Okay.
The two-family trigger site plan and special use permit.
Right, I believe we submitted a revised application which did check off site plan and special use, but I'll take another look
One
at
I
that.
got didn't, but
Okay. It's really just the first sheet of the application, right? It's a project opening form, I believe it's
Right.
called.
I don't think there's anything. And it'll be obvious.
Right.
It'll have to go to county planning, but I think that should wait until we get the SWIP and the septic designs.
Yeah, I
then
think we need a little bit more, well, I think in the road and that part of it too. That is town road.
Town road,
Okay.
yep. And then seeker we should discuss with Ashley this evening.
Okay. Ashley, you have comments?
Yes. So starting with seeker, you did previously declare your intent to be lead agency and to authorize the circulation of the lead agency notice when you received the revised EAF. I believe Sean was asking for a couple more revisions on that. So if the applicant wants to make those and then send that over and we can do the circulation. I think the only involved agencies I'm aware of are, I have the Town of Monroe Town Board for the road dedication of that right-of-way portion, the Town of Monroe Highway Department, and the DEC for the stormwater. I don't know if there's anyone else.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Interested county planning.
Well,
Interested in the county planning, and then Village of Kirstjul and Town of Palm Tree and Village of South Blooming Grove as well. They would all need the 239 double N notices.
Okay.
We talked last time about the special use permit criteria. They're still working out the septic engineering details that'll have to be verified by Sean. We talked about the single driveway. The other element is the protection of woodland character. So once you have the tree plan, I think that'll help the board evaluate that criteria. But basically that says except as necessary to provide driveway and utility connections, there shall be no grading or removal of natural vegetation for the first 50% of the required front yard closest to the front lot line. So maybe when doing that tree plan, it might be helpful to mark that line at 50% of the required front yard to see what vegetation removals being removed in that area, if any. I believe last time we talked about the need for architectural review since they're two-family dwellings.
Yep.
we do need a revised owner's endorsement from Seven Springs Realty LLC that authorizes the applicant. The applicant's listed as Golden Stone Consulting LLC. So we have an owner's endorsement that authorizes Lankin Tully, but not that it authorizes the entity that's noted as the applicant, which is Golden Stone Consulting LLC. You will need, well testing is required for one well because it's between 1 to 5 lots. So the applicant should submit well testing protocol that you could send to the planning board's consultant, Weston Sampson. Just a couple minor things. If the plan can also show the boundary of the two-family overlay district, it shows, because there's a few different zones here, so it shows the OSR3, the SR10, and the RPO, but if it could also show the delineation of the two-family overlay, I believe a portion, but not all parcels in the two-family overlay. On general note number 4, that could indicate that the property is also in the OSR3, RPO, and two-family overlay districts, but that all the development's limited to the portions that are in the SR10 and two-family overlay. You'll have some standard map notes, the stormwater map notes. For one, your tree plan map notes. I think you should also include map notes regarding the Ridgeline Preservation Overlay, the RPO district, just to explain what restrictions are on development within the portion of the property that's within the RPO in the event anything's proposed in the future. And under the bulk table, if they could add just an asterisk noting that the building inspector had determined that the minimum bulk in the row entitled with central sewer facilities applies under section 5721.1E, and that's why those are the bulks that are shown in the table. And then there is a typo in the second paragraph under the bulk table in the third line. The word following was missing the W.
Okay.
That's all for me.
Okay. Ashley, what were you saying about the RPO location, or you needed it put somewhere?
So the RPO, they show that location,
Uh-huh.
but to add notes explaining, sort of put, future homeowners on notice that the portion that's in the RPO has restrictions on,
Okay,
in the event there were going to be any improvements on there.
okay,
But to show the delineation of the two-family overlay, that's not shown.
okay. We haven't really talked about a site visit for this one. May wait another month or so, maybe it'll get warmer, I don't know. But at some point, we'll want to go out and
Sure.
check out the site.
Got it.
And board members, any comments? No? Jeff, no? Pat, Dylan? No, so I think with that, there's some cleanup items.
Sure,
That
yeah.
will resolve the whole access
Right.
design and go from there.
All right, yeah,
then
we'll
some
be
additional
looking
work that
forward
needs to get done.
yeah, taking care of the SWIP grading and some of those other items that were listed in Sean and Ashley's comment letters.
Okay, great.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Good night,
you.
everyone.
Have a good night. All right, next item on the agenda is, so Jeff had actually seen that. Masterclass Motors at 18th Stairway, Monroe, New York. Is there someone here representing? Are you representing? Okay, come on up and. Is this the same as Serpa and, okay, thank you. Stairway's throwing me. Good evening.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. If you would state your name for the record and talk about what you'd like to achieve here?
My name is Lou Gordon.
Make sure you speak into the mic.
My name is Lou Gordon. I lived in Monroe for about 60 years. I'm a volunteer fireman here for 40-something years and president of the Monbassia Fire Company. Anyway, I'm trying, we had a situation at master class. There wasn't a handicap sign, and the building inspector came up there, and we fixed the handicap signs at master class, and then he saw a lot of debris and junk at the neighbor on the left side. So he thought that was my stuff, and he went up and he said that we were running a business out of my pole barn. Excuse me?
He said you were running a business out of your,
Out of the pole barn that's behind
Pole barn.
master class. And we do use that for coming up there, but we don't sell anything or anything like that. Anyway, make a long story short,
Just hold on one second. So George, is that mic on?
Pull closer.
Just pull it as close as you can, because it's being recorded so that we could hear you. Thanks. Oh, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
anyway, so I had to get Lincoln Tolley. They came and he wanted a new survey. We did the survey. And when he inspected anyway, I want to clean everything up and do everything what we're supposed to.
Okay, so this is the property over here, right? This is your property. This is master class.
Yeah.
This aerial may be a little dated, but
The
showing.
whole property is master class, and
Right.
my sister-in-law, she's been taking care of the gun store, and her husband passed away, so we help her.
So what's happening in the back? What activities are happening back there?
I have a landscaping business, and we keep equipment up there.
Okay. So it's just is it also employees, like people who are working with you will park up there? Employee parking or things like that?
We do park up there, a couple cars up there, my son, and we get in our truck and we go.
Okay. And so, but it's not a lot of employees, it's just, you're saying
No.
family members?
Yeah, just my son.
And then are you storing anything back there?
No,
Like any, debris or?
we don't sell anything.
Anything like that?
I do park our trucks there.
Okay. All right. So why don't we start, I'm just trying to get a map up here so we could all orient ourselves to a more recent aerial. So it's this property back in here.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm curious what's going on next door. Wonder if Ben is addressing that. All right, so let's go to, Sean, you had some comments?
Yeah, just some initial comments, because it doesn't appear that that the use fits in the zone.
Okay.
Require a referral to the zoning board of appeals for the use
Okay.
variance. And then, should that be successful, I had a couple comments for the applicant to consider when they come back to this board, like providing the additional survey information for the access, because it looks like it's on the adjacent lot. And the site plan references an older approved site plan from 1995, if the applicant could provide that site plan approval. I guess that was it.
Ashley, do you have any comments?
Yes, and I apologize, I don't know that I heard everything the applicant or the applicant's representative had said, but it's my understanding they were looking to change the use of this existing one building, to change the use of that to storage of landscaping equipment for an off-site company.
That's
In
the-
speaking, is
so
that correct?
Is that correct? That's the attorney, she's speaking. She said, so you're looking to be able to use this site officially for storage of landscaping,
Yes.
equipment, trucks, et cetera, for an additional business on the property.
Or that's an off-site business, I believe.
So, do you operate the business somewhere else? Or this would be the location of the business for the landscaping?
No, we do landscaping anywhere in Orange County, but we just store the equipment there.
Okay, so there's no other location that you're storing equipment
No.
officially? Did you hear that, Ashley?
Not really.
This
Okay.
is the only location where they're going to be storing equipment for the business.
So you had mentioned off-site location. I don't think there is another location where,
Okay, so is it then, I guess, a landscaping business that's also on the property that they're looking to get approved?
yes.
Okay,
So essentially, whatever's there now, you want to get a formal blessing that it's allowed to go there.
Yes, 100%.
Okay, so that you can conduct your landscaping business out of this site.
Right. And we still help, at masterclass, because she doesn't have nobody else. Like we use the machines to clean the snow there, like today.
So master class, that property and that operation is your sister's?
In-law, yeah.
Your sister-in-law, okay. And so she's allowed you to use the back of the property?
Correct. And
Okay.
when we built the pole barn, we did everything legitimate, and Ben came over and then inspected everything. I did have, I explained to Jeff because I know him from my bank, and his father was my teacher. But anyway, everything was, there was a couple things that Ben didn't like, and we had to go, get it. But he inspected everything, he looked inside, everything was up to par.
So what happened, Ashley, as far as you understand? Because the applicant's representing, you got the building permit, you got a building permit for this? Building the pole barn.
Right.
Did you say you were going to use it for master class, or was it going to?
No, he knew.
He knew it was
both,
going to
and
be?
then he got mad because he says, "I told you you can't." But I was like, Ben, you knew that's what we were going to do.
He's, what did he say? He told you you
He
couldn't
says,
do?
when this all came down in, I think it was in June or July, he was all aggravated.
Upset.
Yeah.
That you had constructed it?
No, he knew all that. We have like the electrical inspection. He told us where to put a telephone pole. Everything was done legitimately.
Okay, I'm just not
But
understanding.
now,
so,
all of
and
a
I might be
sudden,
able to clear that up a little bit, Bonnie.
Okay,
So they did get a building permit in 2016 and a certificate of occupancy in 2017, but that was to allow the use as a storage maintenance building only to be used by the master class shooter supply.
Right.
So it was accessory to that existing use, and
Okay.
it wasn't permitted for any storage of landscaping equipment or materials or anything like that.
okay.
So my understanding is that they were issued a violation because this is currently being used in this fashion, and that's on hold now as they're before you, and ultimately will need to go to the zoning board of appeals for a use variance. So that does require a determination from the building inspector. It's not something the planning board can refer on its own as it can with area variances, but I did speak with Ben. I have an email from him saying that the use is not permitted and requires a variance. So I could forward that email to the applicant's consultant, and that way they could use that to get before the ZBA so that things can move right along. But that's the biggest issue, is that the use isn't permitted, so they will require a use variance, which of course is a high standard before the ZBA. The only other alternative would be to petition to change the zoning to get this use allowed in the GB district.
So do you understand what the attorney has expressed? So the use that's there, so it was supposed to have been accessory to the master class supply. It was supposed to have been housing whatever equipment, accessories, things that are related to that business. Now that you're operating it as a separate business, that it's the landscaping business, that particular use, Ben has opined, is not allowed in that zoning district. As a result, you need to go to a different board to try and seek relief, meaning you need to get an approval from them to allow you to operate a business that's not normally allowed there. There's another option, which may be more difficult, called asking for a zoning amendment and changing the zoning of the site. But in general, it's frowned upon to change the zoning for one parcel. If anything, you want to kind of change an area. So Ashley, I believe, said you're going to forward the information to the applicant's consultant so they can determine how they want to proceed?
Yes, I'll forward Ben's email to the applicant's consultant. It was, I believe, Lincoln Tully. Is that still?
Yes, Lincoln Tully did your survey, right? Yes. So Ashley, our attorney, is going to forward an email or information.
I think it was Dave Higgins.
Is it Dave Higgins? Does that sound?
Yes.
Okay. So she's going to forward an email to him to explain the situation so he can talk to you about it. So we can't go that far in the process here to get an approval until the use is resolved, and that's a different board, and he will speak to you about it. Okay? Do you have any questions?
A little bit, because it's not really like we're running a landscaping business. It's, we park our equipment there.
But I think the issue is, in as much as I understand you're just parking the equipment there, it's not related to masterclass. And so it's a separate, what we would call a separate use.
And at the time, my sister-in-law wanted to subdivide it, but we couldn't because there was a moratorium.
Okay?
And
it still may not help you. If that use is not allowed in that zoning district, subdividing it may not help you. If anything, you probably need a variance. And again, that's from a separate board, or the town board could look at a zoning amendment for that area. So again, there's additional work that needs to be done based on some communications we received from the building inspector.
okay.
Anything else you want to ask of us? So board members, do you have questions you want to ask of the applicant since he's here? No?
Ashley?
Yes.
So I was taking a quick look at the schedule of district regulations, and unless a landscaping business would be considered a non-nuisance industry, I don't see any district where that type of business might be allowed. Could that be correct? It doesn't
So
seem like it
my
should be.
understanding of it was that it would be under the building or landscape material storage yard.
So you're saying there is a use?
And I think it was the use may be a little bit different as it was described this evening as it was in the application papers. But my reading of the application was that it would fall under the building or landscape material storage yard, which is a building or area of land where building materials, landscape materials, equipment, and/or supplies used exclusively as part of a contractor's business involving the construction of buildings or landscaping are stored.
Okay, so it's subject to a special use, and it would be in the LI or the HI zone.
Exactly,
Okay,
it's allowed, I
I see
believe, in
what
the
you're
LI
talking about.
and I know it's in the LI,
HI.
HI and LI, it's showing up.
HI and LI, yes. Thank you.
So I was talking about a zoning amendment, but the other alternative would be for you to go to the town board and talk to them about whether they would want to add this use to this zoning district. So right now, there's general business zoning, and it allows a variety of different uses. For instance, automotive service station it allows, indoor pistol range. It was done specifically with that property in mind. And they could consider adding that building, landscaping contractor storage to this zoning district, if they think it's appropriate for that use in any of the, what we call the general business zoning districts in the town. So you might want to just feel out the town board about it, and otherwise, again, it looks like you might have to go to a different board for an approval. But that's the other option. I kept thinking zoning map amendment, but it could be a use that's added. So, you know, you could informally talk to them, talk to some people, see what they're willing to entertain, and then also talk to your engineers about the variance. Okay.
All righty.
Pat, do you have any questions? Anything you want to add?
No, just like to thank you.
Thank you.
Fire company. How many years?
43.
No.
Really?
Thank you. Dylan, anything? Nope. Sean, you're good?
I'm good.
Ashley, anything else?
Just a few items for, you know, if and when they do come back to you. The application paperwork, nothing was signed and not signed by the right people. So just to make sure that all of those forms are signed out and that the owner, which would have to be some authorized member of the LLC, is authorizing the application.
Okay.
That's my sister-in-law, Alan.
Yeah, so you have to make sure that the official property owner, whoever represents the LLC, there's additional paperwork that has to be filled out, that
I'm
they
pretty sure she
consent
sent
to it.
And signed it, but she couldn't make it tonight, though.
I'll have to go back and look.
And she had to send a check, too.
Okay. She may have gotten some of the pieces, but not all the pieces. And again, I think Dave can help you out, or you can call Noreen and she can let you know what else is needed.
Okay,
All right?
all righty.
All
I'll
right.
include these,
Thank you.
I'll let Dave know as well in my email to him, that way
He
he
makes
can
sure.
put that out.
Okay, so our attorney will let Dave Higgins know also about those other items, so we can get those straightened out too.
Okay,
All right?
all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, are we 2 minutes at this point? Okay. From Engineering Properties?
The executive offices one over at 17
Yep.
They're trying to get a meeting with the three of you together. I need to know when anybody's available. They told me yesterday that they don't.
Let's email tomorrow. Let's go around, just start an email, and we'll bring it up again. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. That's a little tough. Anything, Sean, you want to raise or add?
Nope.
Ashley?
Nothing from me.
All right. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
We're going to tackle minutes, so you are excused.
Thank you, and thanks a lot for letting me zoom in.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye. All right, and then Sean, if you want to head out, you're good to go. Okay. All right, so I don't have October, November, December minutes. What I do have is I went through this to figure out all that had been approved and hadn't been approved. Where are they? Under agenda minutes. So under minutes, I looked at everything because we approved a whole bunch in December. So I took a look at those. And so right now, what I have are the August and the September minutes that have to be approved. And we had them, but we had to table them because for whatever reason,
No, but you don't have the October and November 9th?
no. Nope. I looked at the Outlook and I looked at my other email address. So let's start with 8:10. Now, I don't know why we tabled it before, so should have been able to. All right, so everybody, we have sufficient members here to be able to approve these minutes. I went through this, and I made some minor, oh, I think I sent these to you. Good night, Sean.
Night.
Stay warm. had some, where are my revisions? Maybe it's not showing it. It may not show it, be showing it right now in edit mode. So did anybody have any questions or other issues with the minutes? Are we good to approve them? Yes, yes. Someone want to make a motion?
So moved.
All right, so motion's been made to approve the August 10th, 2023 workshop meeting minutes. May I have a second?
Bob Garsack,
Aye.
Jeff Manson,
Aye.
Bonnie Franson,
Aye.
Pat Shea,
Aye.
Dylan Penn.
Aye.
All right, so that's that. Next one is 8:29. And I was present at that. Jeff, Pat, Dylan, Bob, you're out. So I think we're still good. All right, and then I just made some minor typo, language changes. I sent the 4 of these to you. Yeah. Yep. Yep, I sent it to everybody. So with the revisions, I would make a motion that we approve the August 29th meeting minutes. May I have a second?
Second.
Noreen?
Penn,
Aye.
Pat Shea,
Aye.
Bonnie Franson,
Aye.
Jeff Manson,
Aye.
And then Bob, you'll abstain.
Bob Garsack.
Abstain.
Okay. So that is approved. All right, and then I have 9:14 minutes, which I am present. It looks like Dylan and Jeff, you were absent. So we have to table these. We have to wait till Nick is here. And then 9:19. I thought there was one of these I wasn't present. So we're good for that one. And I just made some edits. I think you need to straighten out the order of this one because I opened the meeting, but then later on you have I open the meeting.
Up on the bottom.
You gotta push it, yeah, you gotta push it
I'll
up.
just move it up.
And then, so I have some questions. Member Garstack asked for meeting with attorney. I remember that you asked for the meeting with the attorney, but I don't recall if we had it at that meeting. I think we might have had it. Was that the one that we did? We went into attorney-client? Okay. So then, okay, so we'll just make reference to that. I couldn't remember because I knew we had it one. I wasn't sure if it was into and okay. So this had waiting on GML with a question mark, and there wasn't an answer, so I didn't know if that was just a question I asked. So if you would look at the minutes, just look. Okay. And then this is where I said this just needs to be moved up earlier. And then I have some typos, miscellaneous things, minor word. And then after the minutes, if we didn't act on them, we just put tabled. Where that's appropriate, just so we can look back, we can know that we tabled them, so that they show up in the next meeting minutes or agenda. All right, so with those changes, I'd like to make a motion that we approve these minutes. May I have a second?
Second.
Bob Garstack,
Aye.
Jeff Manson,
Aye.
Bonnie Franson,
Aye.
Pat Shea,
Aye.
Dylan Penn, you need to abstain.
Abstain.
All right. So that was the 19th? Okay, so that one's approved, so I will resend these to you, Noreen. And then we tabled, oh, shoot. Was it the 914 that we tabled? Okay. And 914 we have to add to next month's agenda along with the others.
Yep, you'll have everything.
All right. All right. So with that, anything the board members want to discuss? Anything we need to discuss? No?
Just quickly, I got an email today from the New York Planning Federation. They're starting up their Learn at Lunch series again. I know Noreen's favorite topic is training, and let's get it done early. February 15th from noon to 1, so depending on what your work schedule is like. I've attended a few of these Learn at Lunch trainings. In an hour, you can get quite a bit of information. The topic is Seeker, and the basics of that, the presenter is Max Stash, who's a partner at Nelson Pope and Voorhees. I've seen Max present on Seeker, and I highly recommend. He's a very, very good trainer.
Can you forward me that email?
I will be forwarding Noreen this email so she can get it out to the board.
I think it came out today.
Yeah, just
I was in my,
I think it came out today.
Where is it?
it's a training on Zoom. Yep,
As New York Planning Federation. So, yeah, you'll forward it, right?
I'm forwarding it now.
Okay.
the board will have it tomorrow.
It's a lunch and learn, so you can grab lunch. If we did it here, we could get the town to pay for it, but I don't think anyone's around. All right, with that, I'll make a motion that we adjourn the meeting. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays, any abstentions? Motion carries. Have a good evening, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, George. Thank you, Noreen.